Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Kansas Moonshot Podcast, where we are shining the spotlight on amazing things happening in schools across the state. Whether you're one of the Mercury, Gemini, or in the near future Apollo schools launching some amazing redesign plans, or a teacher trying to do something a little different, I want to share your story. The goal is to celebrate the awesomeness all around us. So, no guests on the podcast this week. I've spent the last few weeks reaching out to some redesigns across the state in between busy schedules and launching new redesign initiatives and, actually teaching classes. It's been challenging trying to get guests on the podcast, and it's nobody's fault. I mean, it's everyone's busy. I get it. And so I'll continue reaching out to different schools so we can finally get some people on the podcast. But I think that's just part of it. And like I said, I'll continue reaching out to you. If you've got a really great story to tell, just email me back. But I think there's something else at play here. Most of the teachers I know hate to brag about themselves. They'll talk about cool things a student did or something interesting they read, but it's really hard for us to say that we really organized this amazing learning experience for the students. Sometimes the lesson was amazing, but it didn't go exactly as we planned, or it was great, but we saw someone else do a bigger version of it online. Social media is the worst culprit for this, because we always think, oh, well, mine wasn't as big as that, so I don't know if it's worth sharing. Sometimes we feel like our idea wasn't original, because if you're like me, most of what I do is some version of something I borrowed from someone else, again, probably on social media. So we don't feel like we should get the credit for it. Or sometimes, we just don't want to come across as a show-off or too braggadocious, which part of me just wanted to use the word braggadocious in this, so there you go. I see the same thing when applying to present at conferences. A lot of teachers I know don't want to submit a proposal because they don't know what they have going on that is worth sharing. They don't feel like what's going on in their classroom is something other teachers want to hear about. The only reason why I even started presenting at conferences was because Amber Rowland at KU, we spent a couple of years working on this writing project, and she brought me along as a co-presenter, and we presented some of our work at the MACE conference, which is a fantastic conference. You should definitely check it out. And ISTE, which is also a great conference, she brought me along, and through some prodding and encouragement, she convinced me that I had something worth saying. Before that point, I wanted to put my head down and do cool stuff in my classroom and just be content with that. But the more I shared, the more I realized that we need to tell our stories. We need to highlight what is going on in our classrooms. There are a lot of different narratives about what goes on in schools today. I want the amazing, innovative ideas to be the standard. I want people to see that and know that this is what education is right now or what it could be. That's why I started this podcast to begin with. I wanted to shine that spotlight on the amazing things teachers are doing, to tell their stories and hopefully inspire others to try new things in their own classrooms. I think about those first-year teachers who are fired up to cannonball in with new ideas, or those veteran teachers who want to try something different, but maybe need a little inspiration, or those teachers who feel alone because they want to rethink their classroom, but the other teachers in their buildings just aren't ready to make that leap yet, and they need someone to walk alongside them through that process. Your story could help them. That's what this redesign is all about. It's about us sharing new ways to look at things, not to all be the same, but to find those elements from others' stories and to figure out how that puzzle can work together and apply in our own buildings and in our own classrooms. I'll continue to try to seek out these amazing stories to share with all of you. If you are listening to this, I want to tell your story. It doesn't have to be elaborate or fancy. In fact, it could be a lesson that completely bombed, but maybe together, sharing that moment that things didn't go well, we can all relate to that moment, and we can find a way to use that to improve our own instruction. Just think, what is that one thing that you are doing in your classroom or your school is rolling out this year, either through redesign or the Gemini 1s, Gemini 2s, or a Mercury school, or just a teacher trying something different? What is that one thing that you think might encourage or inspire other teachers? It might have been talked about before. But the thing is you may have seen it on a podcast or listened to it on a podcast or read about it in a blog article, but they may not have read that same article as you. You're just amplifying those ideas, and that's what I think all of this is. Between the blogs and the podcasts and Twitter, all of that is just amplifying these ideas so that they reach more and more people. And so even if that idea has already been talked about before, you're amplifying that idea for someone who maybe has never heard about it before. So please, reach out to me, and we'll figure out a time that we can set up to record an episode of the podcast. I will tell you, it's very painless. I use this program called Zencastr, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of like Skype or a phone call all in one, and it's an online tool that I send you a link, and it's basically like we're talking on the phone. And we talk, you share your story, and then I get to share that out with everyone else. Your story could help others all across the state. So on that note, please take some time, think about the amazing things that you're doing. I hope you have a relaxing, enjoyable break, Thanksgiving break. And I hope you take some time to reflect on those great things that are happening in your classrooms. I know it can get stressful sometimes, but this is a good time to reflect on there are moments and there are kids in your classroom that have so many great stories. I've got kids in my own classroom that every time I look at them, they just make me smile. Those are the moments that I reflect on at this time of year. So on that note, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving break. Please reach out to me. You can reach out to me at teachlikeaninja@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter at teachlikeaninja. That is all I've got for this episode. Thanks for listening. Until next time, book it forward and be awesome.